Okay, scholars, so we're back. Now we're finishing up this last page here working with the isosceles right triangle, and we want to make sure that we don't forget our initial diagram. Remember, the legs are the same, and the hypotenuse is the leg times the square root of 2. So when you look at a diagram and you're looking for the missing side, you decide which side you know first. First, I know it's an isosceles, so I know those are the same, but I know the hypotenuse. So I want to go from the hypotenuse to the leg. Well, hypotenuse to the leg, larger to smaller, you divide. What do we divide by? In this case, root 2. So to get x, I go 16 divided by square root of 2. But I can't leave it in that form because we are rationalizing the denominator. I can't have a radical there. So I go root 2 times root 2. So I get 16 root 2 over 2. And then my answer is going to end up being 8 times the square root of 2. So it kind of helps us build off of that. Then we do the same type of scenarios down here. Notice they didn't give you 45-degree angles. Instead, they told you the two legs were congruent. You're supposed to understand it means the same thing. So we know for sure the legs are the same. So x is going to be just 7 root 2. And then I'm going to go from the leg to the hypotenuse. Well, let's look back up here. The leg to the hypotenuse, I'm going to multiply by what? Smaller to larger, root 2. So y is just going to be 7 root 2 times root 2. That's 7 root 4. Square root of 4 is 2, so that should be 14. A lot of you are really good and can go from that step to the last one, and that's totally okay. Now, if you notice, we should be able to see a pattern here. We already have 14, but I want to get to the leg. If I know one leg, I know the other one, so it's really easy. So, instead of multiplying by root 2, what do we do? What does our diagram say? Larger to smaller? Divide. Divide by root 2. So I go 14 divided by root 2. Oh, look. I have to rationalize it. So we do our good old rationalizing. We get 14 root 2 over 2. Well, I still have to make sure I completely simplify. So x is just going to be 7 root 2. Well, if x is 7 root 2, what's y? 7 root 2. They're exactly the same because the legs of the isosceles triangle are the same. Are you guys starting to see the patterns here? And yes, I know those match. Casey made sure I knew that. Now, making sure on this next one, even if the numbers or radicals aren't pretty and don't hold exactly to the pattern still holds true. So here, I still know that x and y are the same value because it's an isosceles right triangle, and I'm going from the hypotenuse to the leg, and so I'm going to divide by root 2. So that's 5 root 3 over root 2. Again, that just means you have to rationalize the denominator. We want to get in the habit of doing that, and when you do, it's just 5 root 6 over 2. So that's x, which also means it's y, because they're the same size. So we'll go 5 root 6 over 2. This is not meant to be hard because the pattern will always stay the same. So make sure you're always using this pattern. And then last but not least, we're just going to be applying it to area. Now, this one's kind of an easier one to do, but we're looking for the area of this whole triangle, which we find out, oh yeah, it's isosceles, but we also have nice little isosceles triangles here. And we also know the area formula of a triangle is base times height over 2, so I'm looking for the base. Well, what's going to be the base I'm going to use in this case? Well, obviously I want the base to be this whole side. Well, how am I going to get that? Well, these are two smaller isosceles right triangles. Do I know the length of this segment from here to here? Yeah, because the legs are the same. That's the rule of the isosceles right triangle. Isn't that going to be the same for this one over here? Yeah. So my base are just those two sides added together, so 7 root 2 plus 7 root 2, that's 14 root 2. Now my formula holds true. My base is 14 root 2. My height is 7 root 2 all over 2. So if we do that, we get 14 times 7, that's 98. Root 2 times root 2, if you realize that was squaring, is 2. Or for some of you, I'm just going to put square root of 4 down so that way you still see what we're doing. Well, what's the square root of 4? 2. And what happens to your 2's? They simplify out. So it just becomes 98, and make sure you're still labeling it square units. Hopefully this will give you a good idea of how to do these problems, and make sure you call or come in for help if you have any questions.